All right, let's see if this works. Not seeing myself show up yet. Oh, there I go. I think I see myself. All right, guys. So I decided to jump on a little early because spur of the moment decided to stream. I wanted to check in with you guys, say hi. And man, it feels so good to be home. Feels so good to be home. Hey, everybody. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I have to make sure that I see myself. And I wanted to jump on really quick before my boyfriend came home and ask you guys for your guys' opinion. So hold on. Let me get this last window set up, and then I will present you guys with my conundrum. And for some reason, this is not working. Why can't I see myself? Hold on, guys. Oh, wow. Don't send me to Google Plus. Who uses Google Plus? Let's see. Wow. Obviously, all you guys can see that I'm live, but for some reason, I cannot see my own live stream. That is very, very strange. So I guess I'll just go with the chat that I can pop up here. Okay. All right. So just want to say hi to everyone. Give people a couple minutes to filter in. Still really strange that I can't see myself. Usually, that's really strange. But you guys are replying that you guys can see me, so that's good. Got people coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Nice to see you guys for an impromptu live stream. Thank y'all for coming in. Okay, so listen carefully. Listen carefully. This is my conundrum. Well, hold on. First, I can see myself on the OBS software on my desktop. And yeah, so this thing, my poor face. So right before the start of any new job, just without fail, I break out. Like, it's the only time I stress break out is right before I start a new job. I don't know if anybody else can like feel me on this, but the night before I stress out so bad, even if I'm really excited, that especially around my nose area just breaks out like a volcano. So yeah, that's why I have a dot on my nose today. Anyway, side note, hope everyone's doing well. Anyway, I have a, yeah, stress pimples. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's the only time I get pimples anymore is like right before a job starts. Interesting lag there. Lag seems longer tonight than normal for some reason. Anyway, what I want to ask you guys about, and maybe you guys have seen the fringes of it in other live streams that I've been listening to. You know, I was, lurking / chatting in Mr. Science Geek. I'm glad he's lurking right now too, and chiming in every once in a while. And then briefly in Bob Steenfont's live stream, and then again in Corey and Jimmy's Facebook live stream. I'm not sure if I got the other live stream, but anyway, I have been asking several questions concerning fish that I've never kept before. So I have a brand new, well, new to me, 20-gallon tank, courtesy of Tazawa Tanks. So if you guys don't know his channel, he's awesome. He does a lot of cichlid work, and he actually lives only 15 minutes away from me. Anyway, Zenzo was so sweet, and he donated my very first tank for my classroom. So I have a beautiful 20-gallon long, all set up. I got to see my classroom for the first time today. I teach high school biology. For those of you that might not know, I teach high school biology, and I will also be teaching marine biology this year. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm doubly excited because the new science standards call for, you basically have to have a fish tank in your classroom. And I was like, I was going to hold off on having a fish tank in my classroom. And then now it's like, you got to have one because we have to have aquatic snails and Elodia for a lot of the student-run investigations that we're going to be doing throughout the year. So I'm super excited that this kind of opened that up to me. And so I have a brand new 20-gallon tank, new to me again, used from Tazawa Tanks. He was very kind to just give it to me, and it's going to go into the tank, or into the classroom. It is in the classroom right now. And I figured that as I put it together, I'll, take some video while I'm doing it so that all y'all can be a part of the process and see, how my classroom comes together. But here's my problem. I don't know what to put in it. So there are some considerations that have to be put into play as I think about what I can stock in this tank. My ultimate goal is to have like 5 fish tanks, all right? That's my ultimate goal. But here are the considerations, so listen carefully. The building is old, all right? So the building, so I see people saying goldfishes and bull sharks and stuff. One fancy goldfish, I don't know. I want something a little more life. Anyway, so, okay, here are the considerations. The building is old, okay? So my high school, the building that I'm in, is not very well insulated. It's San Francisco, and so it's very cool in there. The temperature usually hovers high 60s, low 70s, okay? And it can get really cold and it can get really hot, okay? So I need a fish that can withstand really, not dramatic temperature changes, but a pretty wide temperature range on the cool side. So we're talking high 60s is normal room temperature. Sometimes down to 50, sometimes up to 76 on a hot day for us in San Francisco. Oh, white clouds, I didn't even think about that. So thank you, Multi-Tank Addiction, Danny. Oh, see, this is why I wanted to talk to you guys, because like I didn't even think about white clouds, and I think white clouds are gorgeous. So, okay, I am actually going to write down these suggestions as you guys come up with them. White clouds, okay, we got Danios. Cherry shrimp will go a low temperature. Okay, here. Let me continue, guys. So, lower temperatures, so high 60s, right? It's a 20-gallon long that I have, so it's a lot of floor space, okay? It's a 20-gallon long. The other things that have to live peacefully in the tank with these fish, all right? Elodia, which is a cooler water tank, a cooler water plant, okay? So Elodia has to be able to live and thrive in this tank. Hey Joel, hey Nisi, hey Captain Spicy, all Ruru too, all these people. Okay. Hillstream loaches, oh my goodness. Okay. So Elodia has to be able to live and thrive in this tank because we're going to be using that a lot in our investigations. And pond snails, okay? Now, on my Facebook, when I was talking to people, so Kyle, I'm not sure if he's here, but Kyle was generously offered to donate mystery snails. And I've never kept mystery snails before. So, and I talked to the person who wrote the curriculum that we're going to be doing, and she says it doesn't matter what kind of snail, okay? Just that the ones that the district are providing are pond snails. And she couldn't even give me the exact scientific definition, but I'm assuming they're small pond snails. Probably Captain Spicy, probably common pond snails or bladder snails, which is fine for me because if they breed a lot, then my little pufferfish has a lot to eat. So He's been kind of on a frozen food diet all summer, and he really wants snails now. So Malaysian trumpets, I have been wanting to get back into those guys. For some reason, Malaysian trumpets don't like me in this setup. Maybe they'll like it in the high school. So anyway, the fish have to be compatible with small snails so that they reproduce, so that my pufferfish can have food, and also so that we have tons of snails for the kids to use in their experiments. And then Elodia, which is a floating plant that can also be stuck into the gravel. Gobies, okay, it's got to be freshwater. Another thing, this is my work tank, okay? I am crazy at school. Not crazy, maybe a little. But I mean, I'm busy, you know. I got students, like me in the classroom, there's 35 other students that are going to get more attention than this fish tank on a daily basis, you know. So I need fish that are super, super hardy, that can withstand maybe missing a water change or 2 or 3. I'm going to try and do water changes once a month, but these need to be like pretty hardy fish. Okay, so we're getting some more. So Lauren is suggesting rice fish. We got bluefin killifish from Andrew Marcus. Ooh, celestial pearl danios from Ringo. Okay. Joel, I do not teach while wearing a straight jacket. Man, I'm really liking the idea of white clouds. Jagmeet endlers. Okay, I have thought about endlers. So everyone, like a lot of the other teachers that do keep fish in the classroom, they tend to keep guppies, which I'm cool with. Like I've actually never kept guppies on my own. But you know, I want to offer something unique. So that is Captain Spicy, do they need to be friendly fish? That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a friendly fish that will interact with the students. Like I even briefly thought about my pufferfish. Obviously he wouldn't go with the snails. He would be in like the 3rd tank I bring in. But you know, I was thinking a lot of kids have never seen a freshwater pufferfish, and he'd be cool to have at work, but I have to, that's probably 2 or 3 years down the road. So anyway, a lot of the other high school teachers and middle school teachers and below, they, you know, they all have, they tend to have guppies. And I love the guppies that they have, but I mean, chances are if the kids have had a fish tank in their classroom, they have already encountered guppies. Fahaka, David, that's a bit large. Ringo Star, what filtration? So I'm going to be using a large sponge filter. I'll probably be taking it out of one of my tanks at home and putting that into the classroom. Paradise fish. So I haven't thought about those before. I thought they required larger tanks though, and I worry about them about being aggressive. Rutu. No, I've had very good interactions with kids. There's some kids and fish and animals. There's something about animals that brings out a reaction in almost every kid that I've had. Like, I think my favorite is when I brought Weldon. So Weldon's my bearded dragon to school. And this one girl, she wasn't even my student. I was a student teacher at the time. So I was in 2 different classrooms on 2 different levels, teaching 2 different grades, and I was only there half the day, all right? And somehow this girl, who was not one of my students, she heard about me with the bearded dragon, and she tracked me down. I don't know how she tracked me down. She must have like asked several people and figured out my schedule somehow. And this girl tracked me out. She like runs into the classroom, and then she looks, and then she sees the lizard, and she's like, I was looking for you. So anyway, good night, Susan. Thank you for hanging out for a bit. So, not a stalker, no. She was very, very excited about my bearded dragon. And then, you know, other ones that said they were, like one boy that said he was like, you know, a little nervous about the lizard. Even fed him a piece of his banana, you know, his his banana from lunch to Weldon, and Weldon loved it. And that was just a really cute interaction. So anyway, part of my passion in biology is animals. And I want to get this fish tank right. So we got a couple more. So multi-tank is saying pumpkin seed or bluegill. Captain Spicy, Florida flagfish. A little naughty, okay. Andrew Marcus, I have Heterandria formosa in this, well, you can't see it, tank over there. So I have a breeding colony of Heterandria formosa. They're not super colorful though, even though they do breed a lot. Kala, the pygmy sunfish are awesome, but you have to watch them from across the room. Like, even as I'm sitting here in my chair, if I look over at my pygmy sunfish over here, I'm like, 3 feet away, I'll see them dancing and doing all their fun stuff. But as soon as you move towards them, they like freak out and hide. So they're actually not a great choice. So cherry shrimp and German blue rams. So after being surrounded by cichlids all summer, I actually do want to try cichlids. So some kind of cichlid. So oh my goodness, I'm getting so many good ideas. Cory cat. Okay, let's see. Thanks Everything Better for the Cory cat. Luis Sparkling Gourami. Oh, or Dario Scarlet Bodice. Okay, so we got Sparkling Gourami, Dario. Those are really cute. Apistos. Oh, peacock gudgeons. Oh my goodness, PJ. I used to have them. They were cool. Mine were shy, but they were cool. Platy. Okay. Danios. Okay, so Mr. Science Geek with his teacher knowledge is coming in, even though he said he was going to lurk. Super hardy. Great lesson on genetics. That is very true. So Danio has the tie-in to genetics. Now, that was the last thing. My last consideration was to have a fish that I could tie into the classroom. So this is going to be a talking point, right? It's alive, like a biology classroom that has living things in it just makes sense to me, And whatever fish this is, I want to be able to start a conversation, use it as an in to get somewhere really interesting. So the fact that Danios are used in genetic research extensively as a model animal is perfect. Like that would start a really amazing conversation potentially. Oh, I think my boyfriend just got home. Hold on. Let me see. The chicken is going to be done in about 20 minutes, so we're still good. Hello. 1 second. I'm streaming.
Why? Okay.
Chicken will be done in 20. Okay. All right, so pea puffers. Pea puffers would be cool too. Let's see. There's a lot of different kind of Danios too. That was one I hadn't thought of. So what I was thinking, these are the two fish I had on my mind. So I was thinking along the lines of guppies, right? And so I naturally emailed Greg Sage because he's the live bearer awesomeness dude. And I told him a lot of these classroom considerations and the things that I wanted to do. And one of the things he suggested, one of the species he suggested, I will link it into the chat, is actually a goodiid. Okay? So there's the link. And the specific goodiid that he was thinking about is called a Xenotoca doadririo from San Marcos. And I've never kept goodiids. I have not kept a lot of live bearers. And he was telling me that this is a goodiid that typically prefers cooler temperatures. Like most goodiids start to wear out at, mid 70s. They don't like it. However, this one is tolerant up to 78 degrees, okay? This one is tolerant up to 78 degrees. And so that rare day, whenever we have a really warm day in San Francisco and the room does get hot, then they would be able to survive it versus a lot of other goodeids. It has a really interesting reproductive cycle. It's truly viviparous. So the mothers actually have like a placental lining, and then the fry embed in it, and whenever they're born they have an umbilical cord that takes a while to drop off. So that's kind of a cool one, and the fact that it is endangered in the wild basically, which can bring up conversations about conservation of these species. So my question, who has kept goodeids and what are they like? So I love all of these suggestions, and believe me, I'm keeping them because my plan is to have at least 3 tanks. But, you know, I want to talk about it. So we got people chiming in. They're great fish, pretty and tolerant. So yeah, he was saying that they breed easily as a live bearer as well. So white clouds are endangered in the wild. So that is very true. I'm going to put a star next to white clouds and next to Danios, because the fact that they're pretty much extinct in the wild but are being kept through purely human conservation or, well, commercial efforts, then that's a really interesting talking point to bring up. So Ruru 2, that is the main thing I'm worried about. The goodeids may bully the snails, and I need the snails. So again, the 2 things that have to live in this tank are aquatic snails and Elodia, but I don't mind with, you know, I'll keep it species only. I don't really want any other fish in there. Okay, so JW is suggesting rainbow fish, so I think in a larger tank maybe. I would like to have like a 30-gallon in my classroom one day. So yeah, if it gets too warm. Luckily I live in San Francisco, and I don't think it's ever gotten over 75 in my classroom or in a classroom, but that is definitely a consideration. Andrew Marcus, I can have other plants in this tank. I just need a lot of Elodia. And naturally, my department decided that I was going to be the one to make sure that all the biology teachers have tanks. So yeah, I am on the lookout for tanks to set up for my other biology teachers so that they can maintain a fish tank. And I'm going to help all the other bio teachers. There's 6 of us because we have a really huge high school. That's 6 bio teachers, not counting physics or chemistry. Our entire science department's like 20 science teachers, and then that's not even counting like all the other teachers like English and math and all that. So guppies, quick way to teach genetics, yes. Also thinking of bringing in some of my bettas, not all of them. Why snails, Rob? We're going to be, or the students are going to be making an enclosed ecosystem using a snail. And then they're going to be looking at carbon cycling within the system. So they need something hardy like a snail. And they're magic. Nisi, I'm going to agree with you. Snails are magic. So Mr. Science Geek has kept guppies, goodeids, danios. Okay, so he's voting for any of the 3 above. It's Ruru 2, they're the same. Elodia and Anacris are the same. Everything better, it's a 20-gallon long. So a lot of floor space. Okay, so I'm going to star white clouds and danios and guppies. Another one, and the goodeiid. Okay. Oh, a mono shrimp. I forgot about those guys. So another fish that I was thinking of is, of course, I went to Zenzo's house to pick up the tank. And I saw the tank in his living room that's filled with multis. And I was just floored, okay? So I had been surrounded by cichlids all summer, basically. But I hadn't, like, and I'd seen their amazing parental behavior, like the parents herding around this beautiful little cloud of fry. But Dr. Coleman didn't keep shell dwellers in any of his tanks. And I was just floored by them. Like, so Zenzo's got this giant tank, in his living room. And if you watch, Corey and Jimmy filmed his living room tanks, it does not capture it. Like this tank, whenever you walk in, it doesn't look like much. You know, you got like I mean, it's a beautiful tank, but it doesn't look like a ton of fish in there. But then as soon as you feed them, all these fry come out of the shells. Fry of every single shape and size, and it's amazing. So I do have multis on the mind, let's say. And I think multi-cichlids, those little guys, would be really cool because of their fascinating parental behavior and the fact that there's been a lot of recent research, like science research, that's been published in Nature Cell Science. I think there was a big one in Nature a couple weeks ago, talking about species radiation in the lakes. So what happened is that these cichlids appear to have just speciated really rapidly over a short period of time. They call that species radiation, basically. Whenever you have like one founder fish species, and then there's all these different niches, environmental niches in the lake that are open to this fish, and then they rapidly evolve to fill all of the niches in the lake. So that would be a really cool one. Yeah, so I am thinking about a small colony of multis because they're really cool. They have that really cool parental behavior. And then we can talk about speciation and how in that particular lake, they've evolved this particular strategy to use these shells to house their fry. So anyway, I got a ton of ideas. Mackenzie, glad to see you here. Freshwater eels, everything that is, and then other people are talking about it. Joel, freshwater eels. What kinds of eels? What kinds of freshwater eels? I think that would be really cool. Like, it would be neat to have like an oddball tank with freshwater eels and maybe my puffer fish. So, that would be cool. Wow. Mr. Science Geek, that's my worry. So the multis like to stay at like 78 is what Zenzo keeps his at. And so I would have to have a heater in there, and then I'm not sure how stable the water parameters have to be. Yeah, we'll see. I want to be in your class. Oh man, okay. Sorry, I'm really excited. I spent all day basically cleaning the classroom, and so I have my critter corner now, I'm calling it. I made sure that it has like indirect sunlight. It's got a really nice wide solid table, and it's next to a bunch of outlets. So that critter corner is gonna have the tank on one side, and then I'm actually getting a blue-tongued skink soon. So I'm really excited for that. She's going to be my classroom pet. Already have her picked out. The breeder has been holding her for me and has been sending me pictures of her growing up. We decided to hold off shipping her to me until I was moved back home to San Francisco from Sacramento. So now I'm completely moved back, and I'm really excited to get my little blue-tongued skink, and she's going to be in the classroom. She's going to be our classroom pet. So, and then Weldon will stay at home. And that will be really cool because the particular blue-tongued skink I'm getting is from northern Australia. So it's kind of interesting that I have these two lizards that both originated from the continent of Australia, but they have completely different ecological niches in the continent, right? You have Weldon, the bearded dragon, that lives on really hard-packed earth, and is mostly he's out and about in the open, whereas we have the blue-tongued skink that's the burrower. There's a lot of really interesting adaptations between the two, and I think whenever I get them, or whenever I get her, I'll do a little video on that explaining the two. I'll basically do a lesson with you guys like I would with my kids. Like I'll have the two of them. So, not together, obviously, apart. it's really interesting to see people freak out about people having multiple lizards. So let me check back in on the conversation. Oh, Joel, yeah, you saw that on my Facebook? It was really cool. Let's see. So multis, yeah. So everything beta, I would like to eventually bring in betas, like the whole thing into the classroom, but I'm going to wait. So this year, I am in a classroom of a teacher that's on sabbatical, which means I'm going to have to move everything over. So, I mean, you have to move things anyway because of the summer. No one's there to take care of them. But, I mean, it's just a huge hassle whenever you move to new classrooms and you have to set up new setups and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to wait. This is like the very beginning. This is the glimpse of it. So, I also just put in, I just registered for like a USDA permit. So I put in an application to have insects in my classroom. So California, you know, has a huge agricultural wealth of, a lot of agriculture happens in California. And so they're particularly, how do you say this? It's worrisome whenever people keep potential parasites or potential pests, rather, of agricultural plants, okay? So my goal is to have stick insects in my classroom. Whenever I was a young girl in 5th grade, my 5th grade science teacher kept cages and cages and cages of all different kinds of insects. She had a really good entomologist friend, and I just remember walking into that classroom being surrounded by cages of crazy cool insects. We had pink wing stick insects, we had the giant Australian stick insects, we had little green stick insects, brown stick insects, we had butterflies that we would, you know, watch them grow, and she had an ant farm. And there's something about all those insects that made me want to become an entomologist, which of course changed a lot, but I think those insects, for whatever reason, is kind of what started me on the path of science. And that in combination with my grandfather just being really supportive and buying me all these science kits and stuff as a kid. And, you know, no one in my family was ever in science before, but there was something about the insects in her classroom that really made me want to choose a career path to become an entomologist, which turned into a lot of different things. Eventually ended up a molecular bioscientist, and now a high school biology teacher. So I kind of had like a winding path. But if I had to, you know, choose where it really started, it was those stick insects. So I want stick insects in my classroom. Rob, I am definitely getting praying mantises in there. I would love to do like a Drosophila fly unit. I don't know if we're going to have enough space in the curriculum that we have set for us to do a Drosophila like fruit fly genetics unit in the near future. But like my ultimate goal is to have like the kids do genetic, you know, do like a Drosophila unit exploring their genetics, and then all the flies that we don't need can go to the praying mantises. And then eventually maybe even a little dart frog setup, which would be a cool like semi-self-enclosed ecosystem. The kids could help build that up, you know, all of that stuff. It's all in the works. Okay. So everything beta, he did breed betas. However, as he got a little older, and it was a little more difficult to get downstairs to the basement of the fish room. And so he kind of stopped breeding betas then, but he's going to start again as soon as he feels better. So Ruru 2 worm bins we are in the works. We are actually doing a whole unit using worm bins. So the kids are going to construct 4 different worm bins with 4 different variables, like different ways of building it, and then they're going to take a lot of observations throughout the course of a month, and then we're going to use that to build the self-enclosed ecosystem, and then they're going to have a testable hypotheses and go with it. It's going to be like a 2-month thing, which is basically like half the fall semester. So Proteus, I'm still new, all right? I haven't been teaching for a dozen years like Mr. Science has. One day, though, I still have the fresh new enthusiasm, so to speak. So, anyway. So, Lauren says, my high school had an FFA chapter. Oop, don't run away. So we had a huge garage turned animal room and another garage turned aquaculture room with the reptiles in there. Oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I think the only reptile I'll have is my blue-tongued skink in the classroom. That's a pretty big enclosure. So there's pretty limited space in the classrooms. So, that's going to be like a 4-foot by 3-foot enclosure because they're pretty large lizards. They're actually a little bit bigger from bearded dragons. So she's going to have that whole corner. And then, I think that'll be it for the reptile part. Oh my goodness, that's right. I wanted a crested gecko too. So one of my other friends, he breeds a lot of crested geckos, and he said he would help me set one up for the classroom one day. I'm like, oh man, crested gecko would be cool, and they're pretty easy to take care of as well. So, anyway, I heard the rice timer just go off, and the chicken I put in to roast is going to be done in 15 minutes. So I think I gotta go soon, guys. So, Martha, really quick question. Why does my female crowntail have a bloated stomach? So when it gets to bloating, if you look on the top, over the top of the fish, if you see a pine coning effect, it looks like all of the scales are sticking out individually. That might be dropsy. And what causes dropsy is kidney failure, basically. And then kidney failure causes a lot of fluid to build up underneath the surface of the skin, and that's what causes the scales to raise. Unfortunately, there's not a ton you can do once it hits dropsy because that's kidney failure. That's organ failure. That's kind of hard to reverse. So I have managed to bring one fish back from near death. I used a ton of different antibiotics, and I think I almost killed him in the process, but he did come back and live another year. That was my blue Galaris. He recovered from dropsy. But that's a lot of antibiotics, and most of the time, 99% of the time, once they get to that really bloated stomach, the raised scales, the organ failure, it's not good. So, sorry. Rurutu, I know, not too many. So my goal is to I think my favorite part of that 5th grade class is that the animals felt like they were ours. And I know that kind of community is much harder to build in a high school classroom, but it can be done. I've seen it done. And my hope is that some of the kids, want to be a part of it, want to help with the tanks, want to help with the animals. So with guidance, of course, with guidance. So, but the more that responsibility of the classroom can be transferred to kids, with help at first, with support and guidance, the better. Because it makes it feel like it's their home, Like all those insects, I took care of a lot of them. All the kids took care of a lot of them. So it felt like our animals in the end, so. Oh my goodness, a semi-aquatic salamander or newt. If I could have the axolotl, I would. Unfortunately, axolotls are illegal in California. I used to have one when I was in Washington State, and he was actually a green fluorescent protein one, so he was genetically modified, and he had bright green eyes. It was so cool. So I did have a GFP axolotl in Washington, but I can't have them here. So, Captain Spicy used to breed tokays. That's awesome. Oh, man. There's so many things you can do, really. I can't do tarantulas, though. That's the one thing I can't do. They kind of freak me out. I love them. They're beautiful, but I can't touch them. And you're not supposed to touch them, right? That's the whole thing. However, Actually, that would be a great video. I need to get in contact with him. So one of the guys, last story before I go, because I think the chicken's done. One of the guys that was in my credential program, he's a middle school teacher in the same district as me in San Francisco. Goals, man. Hashtag goals. So I'm going to do, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to figure out a time to go do a video tour with him of his classroom, because he has an entire wall filled with reptiles and tarantulas. And this is a middle school science classroom in San Francisco. It's amazing. So I'm going to do that. And it's funny because we've been doing a lot of crosstalk, because he wants to set up a fish tank, but he doesn't know how to do it. And I want to keep reptiles in my room, but I don't know how to do it. So let's see. Oh, bye, Nisi. I'm about to go too, guys. So Mr. Science Geek, I found that even with middle schoolers, once I show a group of them how to do maintenance, they just tell them to do that once a week. Yeah. So that's my goal, you know. And that we have some great students in my school. So I'm hoping to catch one of them or more of them. So thank you, Rob. That's so sweet. Okay. Mr. Science Geek's 11 years in, still get excited and giddy. I know, always chance for a fresh start. Always a chance. Mangrove monitor. Pucker was mean. Yeah, I can't have mean. There's my timer. I gotta go. Good night, guys. Gotta go take the roast chicken out of the oven. I will see you guys later. Thank you guys all for being here tonight. Love all of these ideas. Love them. I'm planning on having several fish tanks in the future. So, see you guys later.